Top of the morning to you, and you're welcome to a new year right here on Dominion Television. This is Dominion Sport. Once again, let me welcome you to a new season, a new year. Where it's going to be from the pitch to the side, from the track to the ring. You're going to enjoy unforgettable moments right here on Dominion Sport. I am Paul Abe Toluwanimi, and I'm not alone in the studio. I have Samson Balogun, the man with unbiased analysis. I'm all smiles this wonderful morning, and the man with undiluted report. We have kicked off the year again 2026, and we are ready to rumble. Good morning to you.
Well, top of the morning to you, Toluwanimi. It's really nice to be back here to talk sports. Yes, this is the very first edition of the year, and definitely there's a lot to unpack this morning. A lot of breaking stories from Manchester United to a lot of places this morning where, of course, the AFCON is still ongoing. And in fairness, the coach decided to make sure that, there is a media blackout for a few days. Of course, people who traveled from Nigeria and from across the world to see what's going on in AFCON, especially to make content around the Super Eagles, were really livid about the fact that the coach decided to shut them out. But eventually, they've been released, and some of them are now getting the content they actually wanted to make in the first place. Of course, one of our own, Toby Oganla Media, Toby Adepoju, the sporting director for Shooting Stars, is also live there at Demola and some other people. But then, I think a lot is wrong. But then, when we get into the show, of course, we're definitely going to analyze it. Samson Balogun is my name. They call me the sports captain.
All right, the sport captain is in the studio talking to us this wonderful morning. Also, we'll be talking about the AFCON, just like Samson Balogun has said. Also, we'll be looking straight into the camp of Manchester United. We'll be talking about the game of the Super Eagles today by 8 p.m. against the Mambas, Mozambique. And also, let me inform you that you can drop your predictions this wonderful morning on the comment section, and you stand a chance to win something on the show. So make sure you get ready to drop your predictions ahead of the game between the Super Eagles of Nigeria against the Mambas of Mozambique this evening. All right, let's move away from that. Let's talk about Tunisia. They sacked their coach already. Tunisia Football Association has sacked the senior men national team coach Sami Tabrasi after failing to qualify the Carthage Eagles to the next stage of the AFCON tournament. For you, I was expecting that Tunisia would do something better this year at the AFCON, but they did not quite live up to the expectations for this year.
Well, it's quite unfortunate that he has to bear the brunt for the lackluster performance of the team and the lackadaisical attitude you see the players display on the field of play and definitely outside the field of play. And the coach really has to bear the brunt. As I always say on this show, you cannot sack 23 players because of one coach. You can only sack one coach because of 23 players. Yeah, so that's exactly the case here. Trabelsi, for me, has been, was a fantastic player. I think he played during the era of Nwankwo Kanu, Austin Jeji Okocha. He came into the Tunisian national team at the time, and he did exceptionally well for the team. I mean, there were so many other players who actually played during that period with him, but Trabelsi was chosen to lead the team. Yes, if you check what we currently see, you might want to say he has failed. How about teams that crashed out during the group stage, that didn't even make it into the next phase of the tournament? I feel like it's just being punished unjustly for the mistake that has happened. Oftentimes you see teams crashing out, big teams crashing out of the group phase of the tournament, but unfortunately he has also had to to make way for a new coach that is coming on board. Though an announcement has not been made already, maybe an interim coach will come on board and then later we'll see a coach. Now I see it from two angles. Is it the failure of the team or the failure of the coach or the failure of the management to get more from this AFCON than what they have gotten, and to get more from this AFCON than what they have gotten, and they see the coach as a person that has fallen short of what they expected of him, and then he's been kicked out. Oftentimes you see coaches being kicked out of the team, and this is not the first one. Maybe they'll go back to the drawing board and see what exactly you can do differently coming, to the next AFCON.
But definitely they're going to be representing that big nation in the World Cup, as we'll be expecting something better from Tunisia.
Well, maybe that's why he's been kicked out. You don't want to have a repeat of what has happened at the AFCON. I mean, if you have performed this woeful then definitely, at the AFCON, what will happen at the World Cup when usually it is always the group of death, especially when you have teams from Europe, America, Africa, and Asia in the same group. I mean, how would you fare when you play against those teams?
All right, let's see, how far Tunisia can go. Let's move away from that. Let's talk about the AFCON, fantastic, competition this year, and we're enjoying it. But we got a report that the Moroccans are not giving the feel of what AFCON should look like. But let's talk about the round of 16 already, Samson Balogun. We are seeing some teams already through. Mali are through. We have Senegal, we have Cameroon, and we have Morocco also through, to the round, to the quarterfinal stage after the round of 16 games, over the weekend. There's still more to come today and also tomorrow. But let's look at the teams who have qualified already. For you, were the teams that you expecting to see, themselves through to the quarterfinal stage, and how far, can they go in the competition? Some people will talk about Morocco. They have not enjoyed. They're trying to play European football, trying to change the pattern of African football, trying to play European football. We have not enjoyed that feel of the Moroccan side we saw at the World Cup. And also, you look at Mali also, what they have done, for themselves this season. They look like an Arab football type, and they are through to the quarterfinals. And also Senegal, and also, other
Nigeria in South Africa, or maybe in Cameroon, for example, or maybe in Ghana. Those places are places where usually when there are tournaments, the doors are thrown wide open, though they are security conscious, but then they still make sure that, everyone gets an access to watch their national teams play. What we have in Morocco right now is just, some people who actually live in Morocco getting to watch their team. I mean, I saw a clip of a particular person. People still don't come in. And then when they come in, they actually, there's a stumbling block. Even people who get tickets find it difficult to get into the stadium. I mean, there should be a different entrance for people with tickets and people without tickets. I mean, all this should have been prepared for. I think Morocco were unprepared for this tournament. And, the flair, the boost, the jeers that comes with an AFCON tournament is not here. I mean, we are not having the feel. Even as Nigerians, with Nigeria playing at the tournament, the energy is not there. I mean, what you would expect from an AFCON. An average Nigerian would want to see Nigeria play but it's not there. I think it boils down to the fact that maybe there's too little of PR for AFCON. Morocco as a country, maybe they were not so prepared for this particular one. Or maybe there's a little CAF could have done to make this a better tournament. But then, all in all, AFCON is AFCON. AFCON is AFCON, right? And another thing we have to take note is that most of the teams are now trying to play, sleek football, fluid, free-flowing football, where just pass to the nearest man, play sexy football until you get into the opposition box. Unlike what we used to see in the past, where it's not kick and follow per se, but then a pass from 1-2 players and then you can find the ball at the back of the net. But that's not happening. The direct football we used to know is not there. Even the Super Eagles of Nigeria, they have played. You saw what they played against Tunisia. I mean, it's not the old ways of just give the ball to so person and then gives to so person and then the ball is at the back of the net. It's usually about 15, 20 passes before it gets into the opposition box. So it's totally different from now. Yes, it's a welcome development that African teams are now playing wonderful football. But then the question is, are we losing our identity because we want to be on the same, stage with European or maybe American football? That's a big question. Will CAF continue this way? Will we do something different come the next one? So it's a big question. Let's see what will happen in subsequent editions of AFCON.
All right, that's the more stories that are still coming from the AFCON stage. Like I said, some teams are already through to the quarterfinal stage. Senegal are through. Also, you have Mali, we have Morocco, and we have Cameroon. It's going to be a big game between Cameroon and Morocco. We're discussing that, as time goes on the show. Let's move away from that. Let's talk local stories coming through from NLO side. Gold FC, as they unveil Ogunsimi Makshesi as the head coach, announces full management team ahead of the 2026 season. Following official confirmation for 2026 Nations-Wide League NLO Division 1 season, Ede-based Football Club has reached a major milestone in its technical preparation by officially unveiling its technical crew and management staff. Coach Makshesi, as an household name in Nigerian football, brings a wealth of international domestic experience. His illustrious playing career spans several continent and prestigious clubs, providing tactical depth and leadership required for the NLO Division 1 in international Portugal, FC Goren Holland, UMS Agares Algeria, and on the Nigerian under-17 national team right there. For you, this is a big statement from the Gold FC team in the NLO, and they are yet to make a statement.
Well, when you want to, maybe step ahead a little bit, one of the things you do is to bring in, quality names. Not just about the name, but in terms of quality they bring to the table. And I think that's what Gold Football Club has been able to do. They have identified him as, someone who could bring a change. Someone who could, drive the team and propel them to the NPFL. And I think it's a strategic move. It's a bold one, actually, because from NLO, you have to go to the NNL, and then from the NNL down to the NPFL. So it's a long journey. And then they are looking to cut that journey short a little bit. Maybe in the next week, they have a goal, they have a target. And it could be, in the next 3 years, we want to be in the NPFL. Okay, let's start a project. And who exactly is that person that can help us start a project? And with his wealth of experience, I mean, that says a lot about how much he brings to the table. He's traveled far and wide. He sees how, age-grade football are being. All he has to do is to transfer his wealth of knowledge to Gold Football Club. And definitely, I think that he can do. All
right. Definitely, we'll be looking forward to Gold Football Club in the NLO, and also be open for the very best for Mark Sessi to bring good football development Mozambique today by 8 p.m. Like I said, why not go to the comment section going forward in this game? What formation is going to tweak? We have seen different players play different games this competition, and attack-wise,
be a gambler. He's gambled a lot with the national team. He's done that in the last game against Tunisia, making sure that some players, get a run in the game. He did that too against Uganda. He's been able to tweak, turn the team and see, if we move to the next stage of the tournament, that would with the responsibility of, making sure that the team actually qualifies for the next phase. And that, for me, once you move and you no longer have the ball, I mean, my guy, come back and defend your team. So Calvin Bassey and the other sometimes truth, because definitely football has evolved beyond the phase where you think, why they have match analysts. They have already seen the Super 3 so far in this tournament, and they've seen how they conceded 2 against Tunisia, how a 10-man Ugandan team, scored against them, even though they were leading. It shows a little bit of lapses, lack of concentration, which is a problem. If you look at all the goals conceded, and I'm really scared of Nwabali as a goalkeeper. He's made a lot of mistakes, and because nobody comes close to him in the goalkeeping department and in the national team, nobody's really talking about his mistakes. But he's made a lot of mistakes. There was something that happened against Tunisia. There was an offside situation. And if not because there was an offside situation or maybe a foul earlier, they already blew the whistle. He made a very, a very big mistake by infringing on a player who ran through and wanted to score a goal. That could have been a red card for Nwabali. Nobody's talking about that. But the truth is, he's made so much mistakes off the camera than people are seeing on the camera. And I think it might just be the Super Eagles major undoing.
Watching, you will also be dropping your predictions. What you let's move quickly.
It's really amazing that I saw a particular content creator who had the opportunity to interview a player, Chidera Ejuke, for example. Instead of asking reasonable questions, he was talking about his birthday. That could have been the last question we would ask. But the very question he asked was the birthday. This is not content. You have been given the opportunity to, get solid information from these people and then give it to the Nigerian people who don't have access to Morocco, who don't have access to, being there to watch it live themselves. So it's your job to get data, to get information, and put it out there. But unfortunately, they have gotten it all wrong. Now, the coach sees it as a distraction. He's been able to see it through. He was there in the first game, the second game, and by the third game, he felt, look, these guys are more of a distraction than actual, journalists. So what he did is to shut them out. And it's not limited to Nigerian journalists alone. Even people who came from outside the country, from UK, from the US, to actually cover the event were shut out. And none of them complained. But the Nigerian people, because of the content they wanted to make, it's usually like that. So I think there should be a limitation to how close you get, especially during training sessions. Right. These players do not need this kind of distraction at this time. Remember, they are under fire for not qualifying for the World Cup, and the only chance to redeem their image is to win the AFCON. And all you have gone there to do is to make content around these players. Just call them sub-slack. Let them concentrate. After winning the tournament, you can make as many content as possible. But right now, all they need is to play good football and then win the tournament.
All right, I would have really loved to look at some comments from the fans, after they saw what Eric Shears did actually to the journalists or content creators right there. But because of our time, we can't take more, stories from that angle. But there you have it on the screen. But let's move away from that. Let's discuss quickly about the situation of Manchester United. Breaking news: Ruben Amorim sacked this morning. Samson Balogun, did you see this coming? And what next for Manchester United? It looks like they had a backing for him. It looks like nothing was going to shake. It looks like he was a man that was going to carry Manchester United to that promised land at the end of the day. But Samson Balogun didn't quite work out. We got the report this morning. Ruben Amorim sacked from Manchester United.
Well, I think yes, it is true. He has the backing of the man. He had the backing of the management. But unfortunately, overnight something changed. You see, it's really disgraceful that this has to happen. But the last two sackings in the APL had to do with what the coach said in a press conference.
Yeah, I was speaking to somebody saying that statement from the press conference.
That statement from the press conference, was the last straw that broke the camel's back, and that definitely, if you are not careful what you say, you might just lose your job based on things you spill because they expect a level of secrecy from you as a coach. There are things that happen inside that really should not be exposed out there. When Ronaldo said all sorts of things about Manchester United, he sacrificed, and yes, I'm going to leave. I'm going to leave. So he had no business. He had no regret for saying what he said. But you are still a coach, and you still wanted to continue with the team. And then there are things you really should not speak. Don't forget that even Enzo Maresca also suffered the same fate. He said, he's not being supported by some people at the club. Who are the people? The management, the technical crew, or maybe the medical department. So there are things you don't say because you really cannot substantiate and you have no evidence or fact. That same thing happened to Ruben Amorim. No matter how much of a backing you have from the team, you are still going to suffer the same fate because performance has to do with how long you stay at the club, and definitely it's not been so good when it comes to performance. And then it's been hacked. So that's just it. Let's see who Manchester United brings on board. Maybe some people are touting, Liam Rossino for Chelsea. Some are saying, maybe Lampard will come back. Who Manchester United bring? Maybe Ryan Giggs from retirement.
Logan, and we'll be leaving you, Logan, and we'll be leaving you with the highlight of the games for the round of 16 in this. With the highlight of the games for the round of 16 in this AFCON. Stay blessed, AFCON. Stay blessed and enjoy your week. Enjoy your week.
Touch for Barker has done well. It's only really going to be a matter of time, and Senegal's quality. The
lineman is running to the center.
Got a touch, but it buys ahead of him. Ibrahim, a special goal from the teenager.
That's a bad day from South. I told you that was a substitution that I was waiting for. This is a young man that has
something on the counter here for the Sudanese. Mo Issa leaves the ball behind. That's a bit too much for Mende. Corner it'll be. The final whistle. The Lions of Teranga have won the first game in the last 16. Sudan beaten by 3-1.